People have been predicting the death of the barista for as long as I've worked in coffee. Now, the story usually goes that technology and automation will eventually make baristas redundant, but it's never really worked out that way. In fact, for a while, it actually went in the opposite direction. If we wind back the clock around 15 years or so, top cafes and coffee shops were deliberately making the process more manual, not less. The so-called third wave or specialty coffee movement was big on hands-on processes. They wanted to be seen as the opposite of big coffee chains. But over the last few years, things have been changing in independent cafes. Automatic tamping machines have taken off, automatic milk steamers are popping up everywhere, and the latest grinders are way less hands-on than they used to be. And for the most part, baristas have been embracing these changes. Now, there are signs that an even bigger change is coming. The traditional barista workflow, that whole process we know, is about to look very different. So a couple of months ago, I was working at a hospitality trade show in Melbourne. I spent a few days hands-on with the latest in espresso automation, and honestly, it's better than you might think. So in my day job, I work for a group of coffee companies, and one of them is a distributor of commercial coffee equipment. Now, the big new release this year was an automated machine targeted at cafes. Now, this type of machine looks a bit like a traditional machine, but the grinders are built in, and they typically have other automated bells and whistles. Now, these all-in-one machines have been around for a while, but my past experience with them hasn't always been great. They promise a lot, but they usually end up making worse coffee than a good traditional machine for a lot more money. But this one took me by surprise. Now, we expected to be busy making free coffees at the show, so we pulled in a couple of experienced baristas who were used to working on high-end traditional machines. Now, we dialed in the coffee on day one and started making coffee. Now, the machine claims it adjusts the grind size and dose itself to maintain a consistent extraction. We were a bit skeptical. But sure enough, over the 4 days we were making coffee at the show, we didn't have to manually intervene even once. It adjusted the dose and the grind size automatically, and the shots tasted great. It was impressive. Now, for baristas used to working on traditional machines, the process of making coffees for customers felt a little unnerving. You press the button and, it does the rest. Put the milk jug under the steamer and walk away. It just doesn't, feel right. And to be honest, we spent more time explaining to people how it worked than we actually did making coffee. Now, of course, previous generations of these machines have been common in old school big chains and in fast food, but they've never really taken off in independent specialty coffee shops. And that's partly because there were still compromises on coffee quality, and partly because specialty cafes wanted to distance themselves from big chains. They wanted to be known for the craft of coffee, and traditional espresso machines were one way to send that message. But that also seems to be changing too. One example is Blank Street Coffee. They first opened in 2020 and now have over 80 locations across the US and UK. And they have all the cool minimal vibes of an independent cafe, except they use Eversys automatic machines. And they've got a clever business model. It's a really simple menu, small footprint stores, and they use automated equipment to keep labour costs low and service fast. In a recent interview, their VP explained, "Automation has freed our teams up. I could do a whole shift on my own, doing great sales numbers, all while spending time talking to customers about their dogs." And they're not the only ones. Similar business models are popping up around the world, particularly throughout Asia. An example is 2050 Coffee in Japan, a specialty brand that's built its entire concept around automation and sustainability. They use fully automatic machines to brew high-quality espresso, allowing a small team to focus on customer experience, education, and reducing waste. So then what's next for baristas? Well, my guess is this shift is a bit like what happened with Canva and graphic designers. So as design software became more accessible, anyone could make something that looked professional. Now, that didn't eliminate the need for designers, but it did change what their job looked like. It became less about churning out social posts and more about creative direction. And I think we'll see something similar in coffee. As automation handles more of the routine mechanical tasks, baristas can focus more on customer experience. And what about the cafe business model? Are traditional cafes about to go the way of Blockbuster? Well, no, I don't think cafes are going to be replaced by a robot barista in a box, because it's about more than just the product. People come for a coffee, sure, but also for a stack of other reasons. They come for the venue itself, as a space to meet with people. They come for the convenience of someone else making their coffee. And they're also looking for a treat, something different or better than they make at home. And none of that is going away anytime soon. But I do think automation will shape how cafes are designed and run. And these changes could significantly impact labour costs and profitability. Now, right now, only a few businesses are going all in on automation. For most, the biggest shift is probably still a while off. For now, it's about small steps. Automating milk steaming here, upgrading grinders there. But these quiet shifts are slowly redefining the role of the barista and of the cafe itself. And so for cafe owners, that opens up a bit of an opportunity. We get to reimagine what role our team plays, how the space functions, and what kind of experience we want to deliver.